foundation of our whelping space is a 4x8 table that my husband built. It has simple framing with a piece of 1/2-inch plywood on top. A metal X-pen is secured around the front sides, with the back sides left open for easier cleaning. The top of the table is a great space to store whelping supplies, extra blankets, notebooks, scale, heat pads, etc. Mama Dog will start sleeping in here approximately 2 weeks before whelping. The pups will then live in this space with some modifications until around 6 weeks. Okay, so this is my whelping box setup for 0 to 2 weeks. It's a 4x4 Costco garden box, and the peg rails are PVC pipe that we cut and some fittings I got off of Amazon. We just measured to get the size that I wanted for our girls, the right height, so the puppies could get underneath and Mama would butt up her back against it. The bedding is a whelping pad that's 3 layers. There's a absorbent layer in the middle, waterproof layer on the bottom, and fleece on the top. We also have a heat pad as the second layer. Pull this up here. There's the heat pad there, and it takes up about half or a little less than half of the space, so the puppies can easily find it and stay warm, but Mama can avoid it. My mums get very, very warm, so I always like to make sure that they have an area they can go that's cool, and that way I don't have to keep the room quite so hot, so that they're a little bit more comfortable. And then on the very bottom I've got these foam puzzle pads that just make it a little bit more cozy. And there we go. Okay, so this is my setup starting at 2 weeks. The peg rails have been removed, so has the heat pad. At this point, puppy's eyes are opening and they're starting to urinate on their own. So we set up a designated potty space and bed space. It takes a little bit for them to get used to this, but they catch on really, really quickly. They like the cozy bed, so they tend to sleep there, and it becomes pretty natural for them to move away from that space and potty on the pads. This is usually from 2 weeks to 2 weeks and 3 days. Okay, this is our setup from about 2.5 to 3 weeks. I remove the pee pads off of the ground when I see the puppy's mobility is good enough to handle the tray with the grate here. So my base layer is a tray. What I use here is a kennel replacement tray. I think this is for a 32-inch kennel. The next layer is going to be disposable pee pads. I get the extra large ones that are slightly bigger than the tray, so I just fold them under to fit. I find that if you have any of these pads exposed, the puppies will shred them, so I never would just lay these out on the ground. But I do use them as a base layer here because they add nice absorbency underneath my pellets, and it also makes it easier to clean later on. I can just dump the whole thing into a garbage bag and these slide out and everything goes with very little cleaning required afterwards. Okay, so there's the trays, and I just take extra care that the corners aren't poking out over the edge. The next is alfalfa pellets. These are like horse pellets. They're just straight alfalfa. They smell nice. I've tried quite a few different products in the trays, and this is what I've come to find are my favorite because they do have a decent amount of absorbency. After they've been peed on a few times, you'll see they start to kind of expand and soak up the pee, but they really don't allow any of that smell to transfer out into the room. You just kind of get this nice alfalfa grass smell. which is good. And then also I like that they're just grass. So if a puppy was to eat them, which they rarely do, it's not going to hurt them. It's just grass. They might nibble on one or two and then they leave it alone. Now my last layer is a grate. And this is also a kennel grate that is meant for this size of kennel. And it just goes right on top like that. It has these little hooks so it doesn't really slide around too much. And that's that. I use the grate because it discourages the puppies from eating the pellets. It also discourages them from pulling the pads out from underneath and tearing them up. And I also find without the grate, when the puppies are walking on the pellets and they start to break down, they get stuck to their feet and then they track them all over the pen. So this keeps everything nice and clean and tidy, and the puppies generally take to these really fast. So that's how I set up my litter tray. Until now, the puppies have been contained in the white portion of the whelping box. Mama can escape by hopping over the single panel in front to her private space with food and water. Once the first puppy escapes the white box by climbing over, it is time for the next stage. Usually this happens between 3 and 3.5 weeks. Okay, so this is my setup for puppies from about 3.5 to 5 weeks. We've got litter trays, 2 kennels with cozy beds. The kennel doors are zap strapped open so that no puppies can get stuck in there. I've also got a thin board on top of the kennels with a soft towel, which that acts as an area for Mum to escape to if she has to be locked in this area, which does still happen overnight. She can hop up there and have a little spot to go. Oh, Kitty's gonna come check it out. We've got a free choice water dish just here, and Mom's food is risen up still out of reach of the puppies just because they don't have their teeth yet. Well, as soon as teeth come in, then they can have that lowered down and they can have a little look at that as well. And that's about it. This space is 4 by 8. And this is an overnight space and daytime rest area, and then they get brought out into a bigger play area several times a day. Okay, so now that the puppies are getting a little bit older, we like to let them have a little bit more space to move around during the day. So we have their nighttime area in behind here, and then during the day we can open up this one panel, and I wire it open just so that there's no accidents. Anybody getting stuck. And now they have free rein to come out and enjoy a bigger play space while still being able to retreat back into the whelping area that they already are familiar with. So here we are, they can come out of the open gate into the bigger play space. In the inside part of the whelping area, there are 2 litter trays, followed by another one immediately outside the gate, just to help the puppies have the best chance of success when they're first waking up. They can potty where they're supposed to. Outside here they have their hanging toys with lots of fun different things to explore. There's some shovels that bang around when they walk past them and make funny noises, some ropes to tug on, soft toys, plastic toys, just a nice variety. Then we also have a raised bed, which the smaller puppies actually prefer to sleep underneath, but sometimes they'll climb up top as well, and a fluffy donut bed, which is always a favorite. Then we also have some loose toys, of course, scattered around the pen, and I switch those out once or twice a day for variety. So this is the puppy's nighttime and nap time setup from about 5 to 8 weeks. I can add additional kennels here when we start getting a little further along with kennel training in the puppies, but for now they've just got the 3 where they can share and have access to sleep when they want to. They also have their food and water out here and 2 litter trays an assortment of toys with various textures and a little wobble board. I can change these out. I've got a little rolly thing that moves around and toys that make different noises. They've got their comfy, fluffy bed still. You'll also see to the left I've added a piece of plywood where the entrance to the first stage whelping box would normally be. I've got that up there now because I have another mama who is due to whelp in about 2 weeks, so I want her to start becoming accustomed to her whelping space, but I still have these puppies here for another 2 weeks, so everyone needs to share the space. These guys, this pen here is about 9 by 9, which is lots of space for nap time and chilling out in between outside play sessions or play sessions in our large outdoor barn puppy area. That concludes my tutorial on how I set up our whelping and weaning pens for puppies from 0 to 8 weeks old here at Diamond H Ranch. However, remember that the time spent with your litters is far more important than the specifics of how the pen is set up. Our puppies are rarely in this pen other than for sleep time. Get them outside, rain or shine, snow or thunder. Expose them to as many novel stimuli as possible and spend the time doing one-on-one training. And all of that will far outshine whatever your inside setup may be. Always keeping the goal in mind to produce well-rounded, social, brave puppies that will grow into amazing lifetime companions.